Hello everybody, Rufi here with another video for you guys. Today we're going to review one of my students, Santer, and as you can see, it's not just going to be me reviewing him. I also have Alexander here, a good friend and fellow poker player. Alexander has been playing since a long time, and he definitely has a different opinion and different approach in various spots. So I thought it's going to be interesting to get for you guys to get both of our opinions. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Welcome, Alexander. Happy to have you here.
Hello, yeah, it's fun to be here. I've been a long time fan of Peter, so it's good to be on the channel too. Let's see. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Awesome. Okay, yeah. Quickly before we start, I think Santea is playing for the recording 25 NL rush&cash, but normally I think he plays up to 15 NL on Club GG. But yeah, for the recording, I think that's the best format. So we'll just go through the hands and share both of our opinions. I have a quick announcement for you guys. After receiving incredible feedback on our first two group coaching lessons, I'm excited to announce that the third session is just around the corner. This time, we'll be tackling a spot that happens all the time but often leaves players scratching their head. Blind versus blind. Struggling how to play wide ranges out of position from the small blind, or unsure how to defend your weak big blind range effectively. If that's you, then this group coaching session is exactly what you need. This will be the last group coaching session for just 99 euros, so don't miss the opportunity. For all the details, check out our announcement in Discord, or just send me a DM. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. I can't wait to see you there. Now let's get back to the video. I haven't looked at it. Alexander obviously hasn't either, so it's gonna be the first time seeing how he plays. And yeah, let's get into the action. First hands here. Just taking it down. Let's see where we get the first post flops spot against the recreational here. Let's see what he does. What would you do here with the king jack facing a smaller 3-bet from a recreational? What do you think their range is gonna be when they 3-bet from the big blind?
Yeah, this is so weird. I already thought, is this some new kind mid-stack strategy, just 3-betting small or so? No, it's not.
No, I think it's just a
What is this?
recreational. I think it's just a
It's
recreational.
random button thing. I guess we have to call, right? Getting these odds in position, just standard.
Yeah. It's always weird, right? When recreationals, you study the size of to like 10, 11, 12 big blinds, and then somebody 3-bets two less, and you have to kind of make up, okay, what's the bottom of your calling range? What do you do with king 10 offsuit here? What do you do with king 9 offsuit, ace 9 offsuit? You know, where do you draw the line? It's not always that easy, and then, you know, we know that the recreationals probably aren't going to 3-bet 15% here. They're probably going to be a bit tighter, but then, you know, there's also guys that 3-bet, you know, 9-6 offsuit or whatever they kind of feel like it. So yeah, it's not always that easy to navigate these spots. It's just, I think the most important thing, you just get better pot odds, so you call more hands and kind of go from there.
Is there a world where we fold a hand like this ever, thinking that we suffer some reverse implies or whatever? No? Just too good of odds?
Yeah, I would say so. It gets more interesting, right, when you think about hands like ace 8 offsuit or king 9 offsuit. Probably every every Broadway hand has to call, but those are the hands that are close. So you definitely want to call more of your suited hands, but it depends a lot how tight is the recreational, how aggressive is he gonna play post flop. Maybe he's gonna let you off the hook and he's not gonna stack you if you make top pair on an ace high flop when you have ace 9. He has ace king because he plays the trappy. Maybe he's not gonna bluff you often enough when you have ace high on a low board or whatever. So it also depends a lot on the recreational, which often you don't know. So it's rather, you know, I'm sure everybody would approach this spot a bit differently. I don't think there's a fixed solution on how to play.
If you knew he's really tight, would you ever fold? Like saying he has only top range here? Queens plus, ace king, whatever.
Good
Is
question.
there a world where we just fold then?
I mean, probably
Maybe.
if he's really tight, we can still call, because then he's just also not going to bluff us enough post flop. I think that's
could be
an idea, right? So we're gonna realize our equity better, and even if he has queens, when queens and jacks, and we have king jack, we still, you know, have some chance to improve. We might be able to bluff him off when the flop comes ace high and he checks and he's really face up that he has kings and queens all the time. But yeah, of course, once he only has top of the range, we'd rather have a hand like 6-5 suited and not really king 10 offsuit, right? Or king jack offsuit.
Yeah, just the imposition makes a lot of difference, right? Blind against blind, it would be way different.
Exactly, right. Playing in position against the recreational in a big pot is kind of the situation that we want. Obviously, we would prefer to be the aggressor, but even just getting into those situations, whenever we hit something or whenever they give us big timing tells, it's just where most of the money comes from. So I would rather be playing a bit too loose, because you never know that he only has queens plus aces. He might just feel like 3-betting something else, and then suddenly it's a big blunder to fold king jack off. So yeah, I'd rather be too wide in these spots playing against recreationals. But let's see how Santea plays.
Yeah, seems standard, right?
I've had quite a lot of coaching sessions with Santea already. I think we did 10 or 15, and then he also was part of one of the group coachings. So we did. We've spent quite some hours together, and I think he also plays pretty solidly for the most part. We've discussed a lot of different strategies, also some advanced stuff already. But obviously, in-game performing it is always another thing. So sometimes a bit harder to actually remember and put everything into practice that you've learned.
NL25 here is super high rake, right?
Like
this is gonna impact our play, free betting hands and calling.
I'm not too sure with rush&cash, where I think they have actually the same rake for all the rush&cash levels. At least I think that's how it used to be. So I think actually these like 10 and 25 NL, the rake isn't that high, but it's still high, but it's like the same as on 200.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually okay, but of course, like everything in GG is somewhat high rake, but not like higher than like PokerStars 25. I think it's more or less the same, but I could be wrong. Maybe they changed it.
I saw a 7th fold. You saw that hand, but just leave going. It wasn't important. UTG opened and he folded in the cutoff 7th.
Yeah.
You think it's standard?
It's probably standard, unless you think you are quite a bit better than under the gun, that you could 3-bet him or he's somewhat loose.
Yeah, this was kind of also an old school thing. I would just look who's in the blinds. Are they aggro or are they squeezing? We might get away calling there sometimes, right? They're really passive or so.
Yeah. I think kind of like he does here, where he opens jack-head suited with a short stack in the big blind and the short stack in the small blind, which could both be recreational.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
I definitely like that. But yeah, you could think about flatting 7s in the cutoff. It gets a bit more, right? Like more difficult if you do it in positions other than the button, when you start flatting cutoff and
yeah, button also can squeeze.
Exactly. There's more positions. So yeah, it's something that you definitely want to do. Probably more when you really know that the big blind is a huge whale. Otherwise, it's probably not really profitable. At least that's my idea. That you want to have quite a big recreational to, deviate more from your standard strategy.
Are these NL25, is this quite serious? Like, not too easy to beat, or with the rake?
I would say it's fairly easy to beat, but I only played like a couple of hands for like for the stream or to record some videos. They just play fairly nitty and face up for the most part, so you can get away with a lot of things. But obviously, because it's rush&cash, they're not gonna play super wide. They're not gonna make a lot of mistakes. So you really need to. Your money comes a lot from stealing small pots and stealing the blinds.
The king 10 of clubs, what do you think on the flop?
Yeah, this is when you play from, well, he plays against the recreational, right? So I don't mind kind of which sizing he goes. I would just play face up and go like small with most hands, and then size up with my flush draws and over pairs, and kind of keep it like that, where just hands that have more equity put more money in the middle, and hands that have less equity put less money in the middle. And then standard sizing would always be small with random hands like this one, even though we have a backdoor, just allowing him to raise something and then just double barreling on loads of turns like this queen, expecting him to fold a lot, probably also triple barreling on a lot of runouts. What do you think?
Here I'm a bit old school. I don't really see what the 1/3 accomplishes here with our hand. What do you think? Just that we get the information maybe when we get raised or so. But I don't think we really get folds, and if we get raised, we're a bit fucked. Maybe it induces. I would rather check or bet large, to be honest. What do you think? In a sense of we hate our life if we get raised off with this hand. He's not full stacked even, so we don't even can float much, right?
I would still just call. I think if you bet like 2 big blinds, he raises to 6, 7 big blinds. I think we can just call.
Bet call?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get the point, right? Like this, if you have backdoor flush draws, I think if they were a bit worse, let's say we had like king 6 of hearts, that's maybe a hand that you could say, well, I want to check because I can't really call a raise, but I have some equity in that I want to realize. So then I don't mind checking back. I just think that when you bet small, if you think about the flop itself, yes, you probably don't really get that many folds, but there's so many runouts where you will get him to fold those hands. That it's better to start small, and when you start large, you don't know if he maybe sometimes calls a set or 2 pair, which I mean he doesn't really have, but even an 8, right? He might raise now an 8 on the flop, and by betting small, we can just make him fold turn and river so much of his range. Unless he spikes a queen, he's probably folding everything by the river. That I like that approach. But yeah, I don't mind like if you size up a little bit.
I would check this hand rather, just trying to realize equity as much as possible, and bet larger hand like king 6 of hearts maybe, just to take it down or give up even.
Yeah.
But that's a bit different, yeah. But I can see 1/3 if he's not that aggro.
Yeah, if you check back, you just have to be. It's a different line, and you have to know that you also have fight back on later streets, right? Let's say we check, the queen comes, he bets 1/3. You just have to be ready to also raise with hands like king 10 there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just allow him to bluff his with 7-6 offsuit that he's gonna have, and jack 9 offsuit, right? He's gonna play too many hands, so your range is stronger, so you really need to fight for that either by betting the flop and double barreling in turn, or by checking back and then either bluff catching or bluff raising aggressively. You just, because they play too wide, you just have to have a plan in mind on how you're going to win the hand, basically, in my opinion, playing against the recreational, because you should be able to somehow win this hand more often than maybe theory allows you. I would always barrel the turn here. Once you bet small on flop, I think that's a fairly big mistake not barreling a turn, because now you get to the river and you can't really bluff catch against the recreational, but you're still ahead of, I mean, maybe you can't even bluff catch, but
I thought so. He's gonna have such a wide range.
He's gonna have such a wide range, but he's also gonna bluff like ace 4. So I'd rather just bet the turn and then probably go all in on the river and just fight more for those hands. This is something like the queen is also such a good card, not just against the recreational, but also in theory, right? You're gonna have all the over pairs. You can still bet 10s, 9s for value, ace 8 for value. You're gonna check back maybe ace king, ace jack if you want to, but then your king highs are all of them just have to bluff on a queen, even in theory, and against a recreational even more reason to do so, where he's just gonna fold the hand like 4-5 or call instead of bluff raising. Sometimes he's probably gonna overfold hands like ace 3 or whatever, and even if not, you can make him fold on the river. So yeah, I guess would you also barrel the turn?
Yes, I think so. Now, even as you said, ace jack high, I think I would always call. King high might get close here.
Yeah.
It sucks obviously if he has pocket fives here, but yeah,
I think
gonna have so many hands.
you can also raise to 15 big blinds now.
It could be an option, yeah.
It's not like what do we represent really. Maybe sure sometimes we check back a flush draw, but a fish just sees that he has pocket fours, randomly bets, and then folds when he sees a raise. Maybe he bets an 8, not knowing what to do. And now when he raise, he sees, well, maybe you have ace 3, a flush, maybe trapped with queens or some overpair. Like, yeah, as long as we don't fold. Yeah, I think this is very important here to this end to kind of show. I mean, it's against the recreational, but even against the regular, you want to fight more for those pots and not allow them to get away that easily. Especially if you play a strategy like that where you bet small on the flop, you have to have the plan on double barreling your good cards, checking back, maybe bluff catching or raising.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would agree like that and say, play either check or size up on the flop.
People might maybe get lost a bit in GTO and think, okay, king 10 of clubs, I don't want to bluff because that's his floats on the flop, so I want to bluff spades, whatever. But I think it's such a small difference that, yeah, I wouldn't even care too much against a fun player.
Very, very
like in theory, clubs would not be the best, right, on the turn to barrel.
Exactly.
Because we want him to have those king 9, king jack of clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would still go for it.
That's a very, very good point, right? Like you can think about the theory, but first of all, that's something I always try to teach my students. When you play against recreational, you want to think about your hand in a vacuum. And even if you play against a regular here, the factor that matters more is that on the queen, his defending threshold should still be quite low. There's going to be a lot of 8x and 3x that have to call that are quite uncomfortable. And if you just make him overfold by 3% on a turn, the double barrel, the suits won't matter in relation to the overfold that he's going to do. So yeah, definitely important to fight for the small pots. Let's see if this was just like this hand or if there's more hands like this where he's missing situations where he could fight for small pots. Yeah, let's see. For example, here the hand is on the fold. I would definitely check the blinds first. Like this hand is very close to open. 10-5 suited, you can open. There's a 50% VP in the small blind. It's probably a recreational. This guy could potentially be tight, not 3-betting you enough. So again, rushing cash, a lot of your money comes from stealing your blinds. You want to open a lot wider from small blind and from the button and steal the blinds. So definitely check the stats there and not just auto fold. And probably this hand can open. What do you think? Do you do that a lot when you...
I agree 100%. I would always, instead of autopiloting, always check the blinds and so on. If I face tight blinds here, I would always open. I'm a bit worried maybe about small blind, that 54. Maybe he 3-bets a ton and then we're a bit fucked or so.
Yeah.
But I do agree. Would you still open knowing that there's a really aggressive small blind? Thinking he calls maybe also a lot of hands?
Yeah, that's a good point. When I see somebody calling a lot, like this guy could be playing 54-10, I would open wider, even wider, because it's going to be a recreational where I would assume that I'm going to have a lot of ways of stealing a lot of edge, right? The only reason to not open these hands, in my opinion, is if your opponent 3-bets, because then you don't realize your equity and you have to fold. But usually recreationals or in rushing cash, they will 3-bet they won't 3-bet enough from any position. So I would play wider pretty much anywhere, but especially button and small blind.
Yeah. What does the fire tag mean? Just lose?
No, I think that just means that they've been running hot over the last 10 hands.
Okay.
Some GG thing.
All right.
Yeah.
So we rather don't play against those guys. We just fold.
Yeah, like here he opens queen 7 and you can see the guy had the auto step forward button.
Auto fold, that's a good sign, yeah.
And so again, I would also take note of this, knowing that, let's see, right? Like knowing a guy has the auto fold button on, you can min open any hand until he catches you, and then you can change your strategy. But until then, you can steal every blind with 7 deuce off, literally any hand, right? Like this guy is not going to pay attention. So that's gonna be important. Okay, right. 5-4 suited again here, right? You have a hand that can 3-bet or call. Definitely check this guy. I think on GG you see how wide he's trying to steal the blinds, right? Attempt to steal. You have that stat. You see how many hands he's raising, and then again, if a hand is close, your opponent is probably not going to 4-bet you enough. I would like to see Santé 3-betting more, because otherwise you just end up playing like the average regular on that stake where you're not going to 3-bet enough. And yeah, the people, if he doesn't 4-bet you realize more equity again. The V of 3-betting goes up, so I'll probably do that instead. But it's not a big mistake. 8-7 suited. You fold here facing a 3-bet from the button. How would you approach it? Would you mix it?
No reads. I don't mind folding with high rake. Otherwise, I think it's standard call, right, on higher stakes.
Yeah.
Is it mixed ever in a 4-bet? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see the sizing he went to. I think he went a little bit larger, so I don't mind the fold. But normally in this cutoff against button, the poker players and suited connectors do call. With the higher rake, it's probably okay, and him going half a big blind larger. But again, he plays 50% VPIP. This might be small sample, but I would definitely check if it's a recreational. I wouldn't fold. So again, I think something that I've seen so far is just take more time. Right? You have time. Check who the player is. Check who the player is behind there. Take some time to make your decision. And you might find a better option than just the autopilot option. Okay, I really like the check raise here, right? I mean, we have a gotcha, we have vectors. It's hard to have enough hands to check raise. It's really hard to defend this in position, so that's well played. Again, right, 5-4 do suited folds here. Obviously now we see an open, but you can always check. There's a lot of guys that 3-bet 2% where you can open any two. It's not really about, well, probably this hand is going to fold because somebody opens, or this guy maybe 3-bets 8%, but it's just about getting the habit every time in a small blind, checking the big blind. Right? It's just free money that you can win. And especially if you think, right, someday you're going to play 200 NL, where you suddenly win $3 every time you do this compared to 35 cents. Right? It adds up. It adds up quite quickly. And
these are gonna implode your win rate, because it's so often that it happens. Yeah, not the huge spots on the river and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's just about building the kind of habit of really trying to win every small pot.
Yes. Queen 8 also I would open, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's checking now.
He's checking. That's good, yes. I like it. But obviously, sometimes you get punished and you have to fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, ace deuce. That's also maybe an interesting hand. What would you do there?
I was in my mind, I was a bit torn now, because usually I think it's a great spot to 3-bet, people not 4-betting enough and so on. But we can end up in some messy spots if he's not folding many hands and stuff. The more he folds, the better is the 3-bet, I guess. I looked also at the blinds. They seem quite tight, so there's not much to be afraid of. To be honest, I would 3-bet, I think, to 7 or so.
Yeah, it's a bit weird on rush&cash, right? Because this guy looks more like he's short stack, but he's not like the standard fish that you would have on a regular table. Right? It's more likely to be some reg fish or playing really, really tight. Same with the guys behind in the blind, right? They all look a bit too tight, quite likely. So
could be,
yeah. And it's a min open, so I think we definitely have to VPIP, and then the question is just, do you want to 3-bet or call? it's probably both okay, and probably both better than just folding. But playing in position, either as a 3-better or as a flatter against the recreational, I don't see how that's not going to make you money with a hand that's probably 0 EV, or maybe losing at minus point something, at very, very little. So yeah, especially if you feel somewhat confident, if you're not shot taking, if you've studied a lot, right? Like I know Santea did. Don't be afraid to get in the mix, maybe a little bit wider, play some more hands, and just kind of believe in yourself that you can outplay your opponent post flop in a lot of spots, right? That you can make them fold hands, or put them into tough spots in situations where they won't expect it, or when you know, make a hero fold in situations where they also don't think that you can fold a top pair and stuff like this. So I think you should have the confidence of playing a couple more hands, or playing a bit wider, let's say.
He's checking again.
He's checking. He's checking sometimes if he has a close hand. I would still check always.
Yeah, he checked and they were all out of folding.
Yeah.
Tight people behind. He won the hand.
It's crazy how much people are just like out of step folding on rush&cash. Everybody really just wants to play good hands, and yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you close hands like 9-8 offsuit, like you don't even have to check. You already know that this guy is not going to 3-bet enough. So, but like, you know, Queen 6 as well. Like it's so close from an open. Just make sure to double check. And you know, 50% of the time you probably can open this against the right opponents. So, yeah, he's checking, but I would still like him to check in a couple more spots, or take it a bit to the extreme. Yeah. This one I think is a good fold. He goes to 9 big blinds, right? You probably don't really want to call when somebody triples 9 big blinds. And then, you know, maybe you can check if this guy is overly aggressive. You can 4-bet, but most opponents won't be in that category. So just folding is I think fine. Obviously a bit annoying, but it's okay. Okay, let's see if we can get some post-flop spots. So far, everybody just folds, but I feel like whenever I do a stream on these stakes or a video, it's just like half an hour of me just stealing the blinds or c-betting and folding. Like there's nobody. But okay, here we have an interesting spot.
Yes.
I'll let you comment first. So this guy cold calls from the big blind. What do you think are their ranges? What would you do here? How would you proceed?
I'd say quite face up, right? He's not playing that loose, so I guess sevens through jacks, something like that, some suited broadways on average. And the other guy can have a wide range, I guess, cut off overcalling then in the end.
Yeah.
I like the spot. Other than nines, we should be usually ahead, I'd say, right?
Sometimes he can have queens, I think. Cold calling.
Maybe queens, yeah.
But that's about it. I think we're definitely happy with our hand. And I would also play quite face up myself here, right? Like if you have ace king, it's probably not the spot where you want to start blasting against 2 opponents. It's not the worst flop. No flush draw, you know. Only king queen really has like a gut shot. Queen 10 suited maybe. But yeah, I would probably just see it. I think like a 1/3 is fine, half pot is fine.
Yes.
Don't really mind going either way. If I had queens, kings, I'd probably always go half pot. If I had ace king, I don't mind them floating with a hand like ace 10, ace queen, right? Ace king even. When you have the ace yourself, you want to keep the ace high hands in. So a bit more inclined to bet like 6 big blinds, and then maybe size up if you have king jack.
Yeah, I like that.
Obviously, you know, king queen is not really folding anyway, so it's not like you get protection from that hand. But you really want these ace high hands to call. Goes 25%. Don't mind it.
Yeah, even that seems okay.
Obviously, that's the one card you don't want to see. And now, yeah, you just check back and probably call the river.
Ooh, big size. Yeah, still, I think we have to call him calling that small size here. I mean, he could turn some pocket sixes into a bluff, in my opinion.
A7, Ace 10.
Yeah, ace 10, yeah.
It's not
I
that
would
many,
always call
9-8.
here.
I'll probably also always call, but I would check, how tight or loose is this guy. He did bet fairly quickly, right? So like
Yeah, that was a bit concerning. Yeah, it was really fast.
bluffing pocket sixes at that speed, you maybe need to think about it a bit
True,
longer.
true. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
like 8-7 is the obvious bluff, but like the obvious value hand, right? Like if you have queen jack, ace queen, king 10, they probably only have the 75% sizing. So I don't mind
Mm.
kind of double checking, making sure he plays well enough, and if he plays like 20-15 or tighter, you can probably also fold,
Yeah.
given the
Uh,
timing.
I think timing tells can be super valuable here. Yeah, if you got a good read on those.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are just gonna not pay attention to that, and you can get so much information.
Yeah, right. Like it's just when, in my opinion, when they bet so quickly means they have an easy decision, and
Yeah,
only 8-7 suited is really the easy bluff that they
yeah.
have there, while all other bluffs, even ace,
Maybe ace 10. Yeah, ace 10 would be
maybe
one.
ace 10 could be one, right? But ace 10 suited is two combinations,
Mm.
compared to like, ace queen, king queen suited, king queen 10 suited, king 10 suited, queen jack. Maybe it's
Yeah,
like
maybe his timing allows us to
to
fold even.
fold, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, he does check. Yeah, okay. He was quite quick, but he was like 2012. Right. So I don't mind. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there you go. 2012, 22, 7.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Also, some hands. Mm.
yeah, fairly tight. So I don't mind if he finds the fold there. I think it's pretty close because we bet quite small on the flop.
Yeah. Autopilot, I'm snap calling.
Yeah,
Thinking about timing, and now him being tight, I like folding. Yeah.
yeah. It's close, so it's fairly
Ooh.
close. 10-9. Ah,
Ooh. Okay.
interesting. So we found it quite
Okay.
quickly. Maybe it's also our replay that's a bit on 1.5x speed. That's why it looked like a snap bet.
Oh, could be. Go
Okay.
back, please. I'm interested now to see that one. If that was that different,
Okay, let me.
because
Turn up the
then
speed.
we're.
Saying something wrong. So how long did it take? Still, river came.
Okay, go ahead. We check back.
1,
Okay.
2. I
Oh,
mean,
he was thinking a little bit.
he was thinking a little bit, but to find 10-9 in such a short amount of time, interesting.
Yeah.
What is worth, I don't mind
Yeah.
his bluff. I think if he goes larger, he probably gets the fold there,
Yeah.
because you don't check back enough strong hands. But yeah, it's the small
Interesting.
sizing right on the flop that induces too much. So again,
Yeah. True.
maybe he proved like kind of not reading too much into things and then just sticking to the other factors was better there. But I think it's close. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that also don't bluff 10-9, so it's not
Mhm.
that you will always lose here. So yeah, close decision, worked out fine in the end. I think both. I don't think it's winning much. I don't think folding is gonna lose you a lot there.
Yeah. And also it shows you like stats can be misleading sometimes. I
They
would
can be
not
misleading.
expect those stats to snap bet river there or bet fast a bluff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or a middling hand, it's not even that kind of a bluff.
It's quite spot on, right? That he realizes he has to turn 10-9 into a bluff. Especially from tight opponents, you usually don't expect that. They turn pairs into
Yeah.
bluffs. Okay.
Queens, I would go bigger maybe a little bit, right? Tiny deep.
Yeah, it's a min open 10, 11 big blinds. I don't really mind it. I think
Okay.
it's like the sizing.
Always calling here, yeah.
Yeah, always calling. Never really jamming. It's such a strong range. Again, I would take more time there. Right?
Yes, this is a tell for
This is a
sure.
tell,
If
right?
he pays attention.
If you have pocket
Yeah.
tens there, ace king there, you
Yeah, it's
think about
never a
raising.
snap call.
It's never a snap call. So speaking of timing tells there, even queens there, sure, you probably have to end up calling. But if this guy doesn't forward bluff enough, he might even just be able to fold the flop on a king high flop, right? He's ace king, like his queens plus ace king, maybe ace queen suited was a forward bluff, maybe ace jack suited, but not a lot. This guy plays 16 v pip, right? Again, I would double check, and I don't think folding is that far off. Because what's really outplayed, we call the flop fold to any turn bet. When he goes check check, do you want to bluff jam our river to make him fold? King queen, ace queen, hoping we check down against jacks. Right. If he doesn't have hands like ace 10 suited or whatever, we're just hoping we win now. Probably if he checks the turn, we do, unless he has a king.
I think so too. Yeah, it's weird. Maybe he has ace 5 suited.
Yeah, this looks like kings.
Not one. Yeah. Man, we just have to be good how often? 20% of the time here.
Yeah.
Man, I think I'm calling, to be honest. Even though it looks weird. But him checking turn, I don't know. Maybe he bets jacks here this way. Just weird.
Yeah, it all depends a lot on his pre-flop range, right? Like if he's really tight, that's why I would have liked to see him check the stats. Right? If he's really tight, I think he can just fold the flop. I don't think it's winning that much to call queens. Like queens without a diamond is just a fold, I think, in theory. So even queens with a diamond, I don't think he's gonna win that much, especially if you think his range is queens plus ace king, that we can probably just fold. And then, if he 4-bets more, what's that gonna be, like jacks, ace queen suited, ace jack suited? Against that range, we probably don't have to call the river, because they could bluff 1/3, ace jack, just to make you fold ace queen or 10. And aces probably doesn't play that way. Ace king probably either bets a turn or bets large on the river. So he says he has king or he has a bluff, kings or he has a bluff. Maybe king queen suited that is afraid, but we kind of block that hand. So yeah, if we think his range is wider, and that's the reason that we call the flop, we should also then call the river against such a sizing, right? Otherwise, if we fold this river, we should have already folded the flop, I think.
Yeah, if he jammed river, I'm happy to fold, but that size just...
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that only have value when they go 1/3 in position.
Could be, yeah.
But sometimes you see a guy that bluffs for 1/3 in position, and if you then make folds like this one, queens, which was already close to block betting maybe the river itself, maybe he has even queens himself for the size, right? You just get massively exploited, and you just have to... It always feels a bit annoying calling this block bet in position from guys that is very often just value. But the couple of people that bluff, they just completely they just completely exploit you if you fold. So yeah, probably I would also end up calling. And here in the right hand we have king jack. I think we spent 4 small c-bet on the flop, which is fine on this board. And then turn king against maybe a recreational. Again, I didn't see him checking. What would you do here?
Just keep betting against all the ace-X, I'd say.
Yeah.
In theory, I think we should check some hands, but I'd rather check aces, ace-king, that hands which have him drawing that, and then value bet all the king-X.
Probably, yeah, I'll do this, right? Just get max from an ace. There's some recreations against which you can check, right, where they will bet an ace themselves anyway, and then they bluff their queen jack, jack 10, or even pocket 4s that they floated on the flop just because he checked to them.
The thing is, they might then check back river, right? Or do you check raise on the turn?
If I think the the recreation is aggressive enough, I would just check call and let them over bluff. But yeah, I think it's better if you take a hand like ace 10 there and just check call twice, and then keep betting your king to get value against an ace, because you can decide the size of the pot a bit better. Yeah, I like 75.
I like the size. I wouldn't overbet.
Yeah,
I think they might get scared.
Yeah, and they also can still have king x themselves, right?
Yeah.
So it's getting hard. It's hard to get called in the river if you bet. Let's see. We've been going for 40 minutes. There's 10 more minutes, so let's see. Squeezing, I like that. You want to squeeze aggressively, right? This is very often going to be that money under the gun. Should forward a lot, shouldn't really call a lot, but they'll probably end up calling a lot. We go for a small C, but that's fine. 10 and defend, we just check call. So far, that seems all standard, right? Otherwise, you let me know. Now goes check, check, and you have 10-9. What would you do here on the river now?
I would always value bet, because I think people might not value bet thin enough, a king or so. And also, I don't expect people to bluff a ton now on that run out. Maybe they can, but I would just value bet 2/3 or so.
Why would you think that they don't bluff enough on this run out?
Like, in a sense, which hands are now... He c-bet flop, right? What happened?
I think, yeah, he c-bet flop, check call, and then small c-bet, check, check turn, and now that's the river.
I don't see a ton of hands which c-bet flop and now end up as a bluff here. Like ace-jack, ace-5 from an UTG range. And usually sixes always check back rear, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Especially on a 25.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. That's what we value bet. I don't think it's necessarily a river where they won't bluff. Let's say they have a random ace-x suited hand. Ace-jack is queen. I think they can bluff on the king. It looks like a good card to bluff. But then, as you said, like they might nit check back a hand like a king that they river, just hoping to win, being a bit scared of the flush. So definitely value bet there, and probably even overbet, to be honest. I don't think they really have queen jack here ever. Some flush draws maybe, but very, very little. So I think our hand is strong enough to overbet there. We have perceived bluffs, ace deuce, ace 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. Maybe some floats around the, like, you know, jack 8 suited that they might think we bluff. Maybe they think we bluff a 3 or 4. So I think we can go for an overbet there when we unblock the king. And if I check out, rather check a stronger hand, that is good to check raise. Like a flush, you could potentially check to check raise and get the max from a king.
I would exploitively, I would not overbet because I'm scared people fold even a king on these stakes. I'm not sure. In theory, it's definitely the best play, but I'm not sure if he's even folding on the flush run out a king against an overbet. How large would you bet here?
Like 12 or something. 12 big blinds.
You think they just call a king?
I usually think when people like river top pair, they think like that's the best that they can have. They don't really fold that. That's my opinion.
Could be, yeah, could be.
If I were bluffing, I would probably bluff a size where he has to call more than just the king. So if I bluff, I wouldn't probably either bluff like larger than 12 big blinds or less than 5 big blinds. Because everything in that region kind of makes it easy to, he can just call with a king and fold everything else. You know, and he might even get sticky if he has like a hand like, I don't know, some weird ace-9 with a diamond or something, thinking, oh, this is a good bluff catcher. He learned something about blockers and then it calls in situations like this. But yeah, there's definitely guys that also fold a king here. Especially on this lower Russian cash stakes. So maybe pot is better, or like, you know, 7.5 big blinds. I think he just had 4. He didn't have anything. Yeah, he just didn't have a king, right? But I think here, especially if you don't play much against the opponents, you wanna kind of try to be a bit more greedy and like find a size, not like 75%, but like go pot, or maybe go small under pot, like 7.1 big blinds. Sneak out a little bit more value, especially if you play against in Russian cash pool where you play against 200 opponents. Nobody's ever gonna pick up on your sizing tell. They're never gonna find out, right? If you play regular tables, you have to be more careful, like scrolling up and putting in handmade sizes. But these stakes, I would kind of like 75% feels a bit too small. as a value bet.
Yeah, I thought so too. Maybe 6.8 I'm betting, or 6.5, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it comes
Yeah.
down to really valuing every blind or every half a blind that you can make. But yeah, let's go to the next hand.
How long are we in? 40 minutes? 45?
40 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do
We
like
can
a couple
just
more
leave
hands.
we can just let it go,
We
and
can just
then
let it
we'll
go
be
without
fine.
stopping. Yeah.
Unless there's a really weird spot. Ooh, this is a weird one. Happy to have kings though.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but usually quite a good one.
Yeah. What do you expect here? Re-raising tens? Whatever.
Random
Ace
pocket
queen?
pairs, yeah, or broadways.
King jack offsuit. Alright.
That's a bit wider, but yeah. Yeah, taking out, marking as a whale, and
Yeah.
that's it. I'm gonna go on. Nice to see that you. I think you play. There's all these nitty guys, and suddenly there's a big whale hidden between all the nits, which is great. Yeah, 6-3 is also open.
Yeah. I guess some people play from the phone here and stuff, right? They might go a bit crazy even on Zoom.
Yeah. I like the check back would probably take a little bit more time, but multi-way with so little equity, I would just check and realize.
Yeah.
Probably we have to fold multi-way. Heads up, I would call multi-way without a hard, probably fold. I don't think it's a bit annoying. We get bluffed sometimes. We had some equity, but I think it's okay.
Ace queen. I like every line here. Like check raising, check calling, 3-betting. Everything seems okay-ish.
Size is a bit larger, but yeah.
Now I would bluff.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely bluff.
The king is a good scare card.
Yeah, probably overbet. Yeah. Again, I'll just quickly stop. Right, when he checks back a board like this one, he's always kept the best that he can have. It's like maybe king 10 or king queen, but that's quite a natural barrel. And then I think we have to overbet to make sure that the 9 or jack folds. A jack he probably doesn't have much, right? But to make sure that 9 or 5 calls. There's gonna be a lot of auto folds as well, but if we don't overbet, we just allow him. Like he just sees all the missed draws right on the board like this on a recreational. So if we don't put in a big enough bet, I don't think they're gonna fold their bluff catches. And we know he never has a good hand because it's a double flush draw board where he checks back, right? Yes, thank you. That's the fun part about playing on GG. Yeah, all these emotes, you can really mess with people. Okay, yeah, there's always call the ace 3. Probably also call the turn. If he checks, I think we just check back. Not much reason to bet.
I wouldn't mind it protecting a bit.
Yeah. And like
against every 2 overcards.
3 deuce or 5-3 or something. I probably value bet the river, to be honest, when he checks again. I think every pair, every full house that you have can value bet here. It's a bit annoying that you have an ace, but you can want to get called by ace highs. But again, he checked quite quickly. I don't think an ace high is going to fold if you bet half pot.
Here I would open a lot, against these 2 guys.
Yeah.
Get punished.
Get punished.
Weird size. Unless he knows this. In theory, I think this could be okay against people opening too wide.
Yeah.
Pure exploit.
Pure exploit if you want to 3-bet more, but I think people here just using the wrong sizings. I don't really know what sizings to use.
Could be.
This is interesting. I think this one is a good last hand to end up on. Almost 200 big blinds deep. We see bet small, we get raised. What would you do here?
I would 3-bet queens, I think, and call aces. I'm not sure if that's a good approach, but it comes to mind. What do you think?
I mean, even
Against
aces
strong,
can probably 3-bet here.
even those? Okay.
When this guy raises on ace queen 5, 200 big blinds deep on a board where he never has aces or queens, I just think this guy has like, a combo draw of hearts, pocket fives, or like ace 5, ace queen himself. I don't really see him ever having anything that folds to a 3-bet. And I just want to get more money in when I have the top of my range here. Like stacking fives here, 200 big blinds deep, is worth so much. When if I call, and then is he going to blast off ever as a bluff here? Probably not. Are there scare cards for the 5? Definitely. So with queens, I mean, we definitely want to raise here.
Yeah.
Probably even larger than that.
I would go larger too, for sure,
Again,
if we do 3-bet.
There's nothing
Because
really.
we just never get a fold if he has those hands.
Yeah. I'll be very surprised to see fold here. Like, he would need to raise the flop with a hand like 5-4 of diamonds, right? Like, that's an absolute...
Yeah, random bluff, kind of.
And again, he calls. Let's see. Turn sizing, what would you go here for?
Just to set up stack 75 or so %. Like 39.
Yeah, something like that. Again, I don't mind going a bit larger. Exploratively here, like even closer to like 49. But you have like a flush draw is not folding, pocket fives is not folding, ace queen is not folding, and any combo draw obviously isn't folding. So again, what is he really folding here? While on the river, hearts will fold. That bricked out, and if he has ace 5, he might make a hero forward. So yeah, again, just really here would go max exploit and be like, he's not folding on the flop, he's not folding on a turn. So just go the maximum there.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, again, I think we want to put in an extra 10 big blinds here, and not size down. Would rather size up. Again, be very surprised to see any folds here. Thinking what hand could raise the flop, call the turn, and now fold.
Could he have ace x of hearts here?
But again, doesn't fold, right? Like, I
doesn't
don't really
fold,
see
no.
anything. Unless
Jack
he
10
already
of
makes...
hearts.
Again, doesn't fold, right?
Yeah.
And now we jam, and if he has ace queen pocket fives, he's never folding. But if he has a missed hearts, and sure, we have a pot size, but we could have set up so that we have like half pot left, and we gain much more money. I mean, I definitely like the jam.
What the heck?
Wow. Okay. But we saw it again, right? It's a combo draw. It's never going to fold on the flop. It's never going to fold on a turn. Obviously,
it's a double gather.
It's a double gather, right? It's super unlucky. The run out, but in case the deuce doesn't come on the river, he's going to fold the river, and we can we can already put in another 20 big blinds by raising
already on the flop.
Raising large on the flop and betting large on the turn. Like here, you really have to think max exploit. Like there's no hands are flat calling here, raising the flop, calling a 3-bet that can fold on the turn. It's a combo draw, or it's a 2-pair or better, and none of those hands fold. So yeah, obviously unlucky run out, but really really important to size up there, because that's 10 big blinds that you're basically throwing out of the window that don't change anything about this hand. And this situation is once in a lifetime, never comes up against this guy again at this stack depth, so you don't have to be worried about any sizing tell, and really go for the max there.
In theory, for a second, I even thought on the river, like him having all the busted draws and then the really strong hands. Maybe we can even check. Like, would he check behind ace queen here? I'm not sure. Maybe. Just trying. Let's say he has the 8-9 of hearts with a check. We would still get value maybe if he decides to bluff. What do you think?
I think in theory this might be okay. In practice, I would never do it. I don't think people bluff here. They just give up.
Never. Okay.
I played someone 100 and 200 rush&cash for the videos, and people just check back in these spots.
Okay, then it doesn't make sense.
There's some guys.
What do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What do you think he would do with the ace queen?
No, ace queen he would definitely jam. Ace queen he would definitely jam, but ace 5 he probably check back.
Ace 5, yeah, that's the one.
Um,
Might check
right,
back.
and then draws as well. While if we jam, and the same way that he can have like ace 9 of hearts here, that he randomly
Mm-hmm.
raises on the flop, and then obviously has the call. That is always going to check back, while it sometimes might convince itself and call. Um, so yeah, we lose some value against ace 5. Like, sure, sometimes the guy's gonna jam like, but there's not that many combo draws like king jack. Like if you play aces that way, you could maybe consider checking on the river and hoping he bluffs a misdraw, which I'd probably play the same, right? Bet the flop, three bet the flop, barrel the turn, because again he has like ace queen or pocket fives or combo draw, and then on the river with aces, you could maybe check because fives are still jamming, ace queen is still jamming, and then you don't really get called by anything. But with queens, I'm just afraid that he has a random ace jack and somehow ended up there. Like people can always call, but people don't always bluff, especially 200 big blinds deep. That's my idea.
Yeah, it's true. Aces, I like it better. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Obviously, a very unfortunate hand with the run out. I think it's the last hand.
Yeah, so the whole video was just for a wine at the end, right?
Yeah, pretty much a mega cooler at the end. But no, what are your general thoughts on Santea now that you've seen him play for half an hour?
I think he played decent. Like not many mistakes. Some minor ones maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe some basic small things, but nothing like. I'd say he should beat these limits, I hope.
Yeah, definitely, right? I also think
Yeah.
he plays like, maybe didn't come across that way the way I talked about him in the video, but I think Santea plays very solid. You know, he knows the theory. He plays. There are not many leaks in his mistake. There's not many mistakes in his game, and I'm sure he's definitely beating that limit even higher, even 50 or 100 NL. I think he can definitely beat. But he leaves some money on the table with not being confident enough that he can outplay recreational. Maybe he thinks he has to be protected with his sizings, isn't exploitative enough, sometimes sizing up, sometimes sizing down, kind of missing a couple of spots where he can increase his win rate. I think that's something he can work on, right? Just take your time more, take more his time to find different lines, find different sizings, but definitely plays very solid, I would say. All right, then. I want to thank you, Alexander, for coming on. It was fun to also get your insights and discuss poker a little bit. Thank you very much for coming on. If you want, guys, Alexander sometimes streams poker on Twitch. I think we're gonna put your socials in the descriptions, and you can check him out. Really relaxing, fun way of explaining how he plays and everything. Definitely great value. And any last words?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I used to do also some YouTube and stuff, but now, since many people ask me, it would be nice to get more content. I've quit that, so it's nice to do some collabs and stuff. That's awesome. And I really enjoy that, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. All right. We'll call it a video. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
See you, bye.